The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
ScareFest Radio, the radio you can see.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to another frivolity-filled episode of ScareFest Television. The original broadcast date is like May 22nd, according to my computer. I have no other point of reference at this point, but that's what the clock says. So tonight, I'm gonna kind of tell everything backwards. First of all, stick around, 30-minute mark. 5, count them 5, celebrity announcements tonight. 4 that have to do with one thing and one that has to do with another thing. But altogether, 5 celebrities. Our guest tonight is Mr. Vincent M. Ward, Season 3 of The Walking Dead Oscar, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here in a moment. And my co-host tonight, just to prove that he is still alive, is co-host Brandon Griffith. And the only person I've met that's really starting to need a haircut more than I am.
I'm going feral here.
All right, so let's go ahead and get over to our guest, because when I have a big celebrity like you, Vincent, I like to spend all the time that I possibly can. First of all, okay, now I have to do this for Lou Temple. I asked him this question, and he said your story was much better than his. On The Walking Dead Season 3, they love just killing off people. I asked him, the way I asked him was, do you just show up one day and you notice that your script is only 2 pages for that? But he said your version of it, you had a pretty good story behind that.
Well, it's not 2 pages for me. For me, it was actually a whole script, and I got to the last page and saw that I was getting killed off. So it was a little shocking rather, but you know, it's The Walking Dead. You don't survive forever, not unless you're Daryl or Carol or somebody.
Well, see, now that didn't occur to me, but I guess because what you're saying is the scripts don't necessarily follow the timing that we see on TV. Because that episode, you got knocked off pretty early, dude. I was very disappointed. They just killed everybody off from the prison in that episode.
Well, you know, we learned that season, even though you had prisoners, it was never about the prisoners. It was about the prison. The prison was the main character in that season because it was a place for the group to feel safe, to live. So, you know, by getting rid of us, they got a nice little home, but then it got invaded. So, but yeah, that Season 3, I had to put Season 3 up there, and not just because I was on it, but just because of the storylines, the characters. You know, you had the Woodbury, you had the governor. It was a season to reckon with, I must say.
I agree with you. It was one of my favorite seasons. As a matter of fact, because I went back and watched your all's part of it, I'm halfway through Season 4 again, just because that storyline was engaging. Unlike other seasons that there were, what was it, 6 that I was just like, oh my God, why don't these people all just kill themselves? It was so depressing.
And then it's a lot of people. I mean, so many people got added on. See, you know, I believe from Season 1 to like Season 4, you still have like a little group of people, you know, that you can really cheer for or start to like or dislike. when you get to the point where it's like 25 people on one episode, it's just like, okay, that's too many. I don't like how that story is. You know, you don't even think of a reason why you might like them or dislike them.
I just to close on that, I guess because of the way they did your character, and I can believe it was just like boom, there you were. It's because it actually caught me by surprise, even though I knew you weren't. I remembered the character getting bumped off, but it was just because it was. Usually they make more out of it. I'll put it that way. It was, but in the case of your character, it was just, oh, by the way, he's dead. I kind of felt like it was like, all right, this time is up. How can we get him on? You know, and I actually thought I had done enough to really and truly be a part of the group. And I don't know if Lou told you, but when they told me I was going to Woodbury, I was like, uh-oh. Did they hand you the red shirt?
No. I saw the red dot on my head. But I told Lou, I said, Lou, they got me going to Woodbury, and I don't think I'm coming back. And he was like, well, what did you hear? I said, I didn't hear anything. I just got a feeling I'm not coming back. And my feeling was correct. I did not come back.
Okay, now I'm going to completely jump the rails here. Read your bio. You were a dancer, a 6'4" dancer. Now, what caught my eye about this is that there is apparently this whole social media campaign to get you on Dancing with the Stars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dancing is not stripping. It was like MC Hammer, Heavy D and the Boys type thing. You know, like the backup dancers. I'm 6'4", and my dance partner was 6'5", and we would win every dance contest in the Midwest. We didn't care who it was. We felt like we could outdance everybody, even MC Hammer. I remember like 25 years ago, the rap group that I was in, we actually got to dance on stage with Hammer because we had opened the show with him. And 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, I ended up going to an MC Hammer concert. I just went by myself. Groupon had a nice little deal. And I ended up on the stage with him again. And I don't even know how they picked me. I was just like, what? So, I mean, I had posted it. So I'm up on stage, dancing with him. It was a lot of people up there. It wasn't just me. But I mean, that pretty much made my year to be able to get on stage with Hammer like 20-something years later and do the Hammer dance. But it was actually my first love, dancing and basketball. It was never acting. Acting came years later.
Yeah,
but
you actually did the math. You were 29, I guess, when you got your first Hollywood role. Yeah.
I got fired from a couple of jobs. And one day I went and saw my very first play at this little theater in Columbus, Ohio called Living the Dream Theater. And I fell in love with it that day. It was like 20 seats in the theater. And afterwards, I was so excited to talk to the actors. And they was like, hey, you should come and audition. You know, we're having auditions for the company. I was like, really? I said, what's an audition? They was like, it's like an interview. I was like, oh, okay. So I went and I auditioned. I ended up getting a part. I don't know how, but I ended up getting a part.
Over to you, Brandon.
Well, I never get to interview a celebrity from Ohio. So I've got to ask this, and hopefully you know, or I'm just going to sound stupid. But on I-75, have you ever traveled past Big Butter Jesus?
Big Butter Jesus. Is that going in?
Also known as Touchdown Jesus.
Oh, yeah, the thing at the church. They got it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was something else first. It was they had another one, but it got hit by lightning. And then they ended up putting another one up. I don't know if you guys know who Roger Troutman is or Zap. He was legendary. He had more bounce to the ounce, computer love. I actually went to his funeral at that church. Yeah, before he got struck by lightning.
I've passed that place a million times. I never get to talk to anybody on ScareFest Radio or at ScareFest that knew what Big Butter Jesus was.
Oh yeah,
and the struck by lightning thing was hilarious. So when you toured, like, did you go down in Cincinnati a lot? Like, are you familiar with the area? Because I'm real big. Like, I love Cincinnati. I got a lot of family there. I was just curious.
Yeah, most definitely. To the Bengals games, to the Reds games. You know, it used to be a skating rink out there that we used to drive to because it's only like 35 minutes from Dayton. So we would go down there just to hang out sometimes and just come right back home.
You ever venture down to Kentucky any? Or this be your first time in Lexington?
Lexington, Kentucky, man. Matter of fact, I'm friends with Rex Chapman. I don't know if you. Yeah, Rex Chapman. He is hilarious on Twitter. And Rex Chapman, for people who don't know, Rex was the man at UK when it came to playing basketball. And like when we first started talking to each other on Twitter, I reminded him of something because he was so popular at the school that somebody, you remember the IROC, like Z28 kind of cars back then?
I'm from Eastern Kentucky. It comes standard.
Yeah, he had, on his car, he had IREX at the bottom. And I'm U of K bought you that car, buddy. Because once again, you know, falling back into the whole basketball thing, I was actually nominated as a McDonald's All-American with Chris Webber and Jalen Rose in them back then.
Yeah. Now, when you come down this way, are you an OSU fan or who do you get behind?
Oh, 100. I'm Ohio State Buckeyes till I die.
Okay. We'll save you then.
We'll let you live and slide.
We're gonna have to increase security at your booth.
I
Know.
thought you might be a Tennessee Volunteer fan.
Oh, that's a sore spot right there. No, most of my friends are Ohio State fans, like, so I get it. Like, but yeah, we're looking forward to having you behind enemy lines down here, man.
Oh man! But
and get him down here.
Our rivals is Michigan, so you know, as long as no Michigan fans come, I'm okay. But I tell you a funny story. One day I did a convention in Michigan, and I had on Ohio State hat. I did, and I didn't even think about it until one of the fans came and was like, you know, I was about to ask you for your autograph, but I just, why do you have that hat on out here? I said, excuse me? He said, why do you have a Buckeye hat on? I said, because I'm a Buckeye fan. You think I'm going to take it off because I'm in Michigan? But the thing about it is I didn't even realize it. I didn't even put two and two together because I wasn't even thinking about that, you know. But this guy,
that's crazy. Like, that's the thing about horror fans. Like, I joke about the OSU and UK thing because, like, it's one of those things, like, you've done a lot of shows, like horror cons, like, it just kind of melds everybody together. We kind of forget our differences and come together, and like it's like the Louisville UK rivalry. It's the only place I've ever seen where UK and Louisville fans can get along together because of their mutual love of horror.
Right, and it's so crazy because they're not far from each other. But that's just like UNC, was it UNC, University of North Carolina, and what was their big rival? And North Carolina State. It's like people hate each other and they just live like an hour from each other. So it happened. But one thing, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. Growing up, like I said, I was a dancer and played basketball. And you know, when we were growing up, we had like the posters in our rooms, right? I had Freddie, Chucky, Michael Myers. I had all the horror posters in my room. And I remember one time, no basketball posters. I had Prince and Vanity 6 in there too. And one day my parents asked me, they's like, we need to talk to you about something. I was like, yeah, what's going on? Like, well, what's are you okay? What's going on with all the scary stuff in your room? I was like, oh, I just like them. And they was like, well, if you ever need to talk to us, we're here. my parents got concerned, man. They got concerned that I was gonna like freak out or something because I had all that horror stuff in there. And I never thought about, once again, being an actor or being in any movies or anything like that. I just like horror.
Well, I mean, you've got a resume that's like a mile long. Like, you've been in a lot of great stuff, and like I see like a lot of the newer stuff and things. Like, you've got a admirable horror resume going on there.
And I got 6 horror films coming up that, I mean, if it wasn't for this pandemic, we'd be filming right now. I got some coming, man. And for me, that's why I started creating stuff like The Stepdaddy and like Devil Roll, because I got tired of being killed off of stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna start killing. I'm not getting killed anymore. So definitely, we finished The Stepdaddy right before, the Ronas hit us. And Lou was actually in it. Lou was in it, and Tomas. Tomas was in it as well. Nick Gomez.
Yeah, you got now has the coronavirus, just like you're out there living in the movie world, like, has it just shut down like stuff post-production, like
completely? They're not playing here in California. They're not playing at all. We're going to be locked down for probably another 2 months.
So you think, like, when do you see like all this work that's out there, like in post-production or like that's wrapped? Like, when is that stuff going to start hitting? Because you've got, like you said, a lot of stuff that's primed and ready.
Well, what's crazy is I've actually still been auditioning. Even with this whole thing, we've still been auditioning. And they're just getting ready, to, as soon as this is over with, to start kicking in. Things just start happening. But one of the funnest auditions I had the other day, because my wife, she has to help me with the auditions, is I auditioned. You remember the old movie Tootsie?
Oh, yeah.
I auditioned for Tootsie. It's about to be a touring play. A touring play, and I auditioned to be like his manager, Tootsie's manager. So, we'll see what happened with that. But I still love theater. Last year I finished a play with Snoop Dogg called Redemption of a Dog, his very first play. And I must say, he did an awesome job, because theater is totally different from movies and TV. You have to really have your stuff together when it comes to doing a play. So it was Snoop Dogg, it was Tamar Braxton, Omar Gooding, and a lot of other people. And this was their first time doing a play. And, I looked at it like this, everybody knows who you guys are. I'm not coming down to your level when it comes to theater. You're going to have to bring it up to mine. And that's what I've done. And everybody stepped up, because, theater is hard. You can really and truly be nervous while you up there, because you're too busy trying to remember your lines. There's no action. As soon as it's action, There's no cut. And sometimes when those scenes change, you have to run and change clothes. Snoop didn't even know you had to change clothes. in the play.
Is that his first time in theater? Has he done theater before?
Yeah. And when I tell you, he's probably the nicest guy that you ever want to meet. And I gained so much respect for him, because, he's a true professional in whatever he does. A true professional. You'd be shocked. So I salute Snoop for, giving it 100%. Well, everybody gave it 100%, especially when this was like their first time doing a play. And I've been in so many plays. It's like I love the theater. I love the stage. I love, the reaction you get from the audience. You get booed, you make people cry, all types of stuff. It's just like I told this story. In fact, I told the other day, I did another play called The Conversation by Tasha Biltmore. And I had to play an abusive husband, and I was really abusive in this one. They made me like rape her on stage and beat her and all types of stuff. But the thing about it, after the play, a guy and his wife walked up to me, and the guy was crying. And I was like, like, what's wrong with this dude? And he just said, I want to thank you. I said, thank me for what? While he's crying. He said, I want to thank you for your performance. He said, because your character was me this morning. And he said the only reason he brought his wife to that play because he was trying to make up from him beating her. And he was like, after I saw that, he said, I saw me and I would never put my hands on my wife ever again. And they just hugged each other and it was crying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to cry. But you never know who you might touch in your performance. And that's why you always have to give 100%, even if it's 2 people in the crowd. I believe in that. If it's a small theater, because that's where I started off, at a small theater. And if people pay their money to come see you, then you got to give them a performance, even if it's not a lot of people in there, because you feed off the audience. If it's not a lot of people in there, it can bring you down. It totally can bring you down because you're used to the hand clapping and the oohs and the ahs. So you always give 100%. And that's what I believe in, even like in an independent film or a student film. If somebody they believe that you can do this character, then the least you can do is respect them, be on time, have your stuff together. And I feel that way with even conventions for cons. Your job is to come there and meet and greet, make people feel welcome, make them feel happy, not be walking around complaining the whole weekend. Sit at your chair, sign the autographs, take pictures, and let people see a different side of you and not just the character that you play on whatever movie or TV show.
I couldn't agree more. Like you find a lot of people like at the shows and things, and like they start relating like attributes of a character to you as a person.
Oh yeah.
And, like when you get out there and actually get to talk and like meet people, like people have always a connotation, I think, in the back of their head, based on people's works. But now, in Lexington, like when we've met celebrities and just in traveling, like it's always good to hear, like just sit down and be able to get to know somebody for who they really are. That's amazing.
And something, I really, for me, I don't like to call people fans because for me, it's like they're putting me above them. It's like, no, you might be a fan of that show, but I'm just Vincent M. Ward from Dayton, Ohio. How you doing? How's your day going? And that's one reason why I created my show, Conventioning. It's all about conventions, but not just horror conventions, but all kinds of conventions. It's like 14,000 different conventions in the world. Anything that you might wear or see, it's a convention for. And I want it to be not just about the celebrities, but about, the vendors, the people that's there, the people that's behind the scenes, all of that. And one of these episodes that we shot was called the Abilities Expo. And it touched me. It really, commercial time.
I was trying to, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Actually, it is, but.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll finish the story when we come back.
Everybody, we're going to commercial now because Brandon doesn't know when to stop asking questions. We'll be right back.
Sorry.
Akashic Awareness is a metaphysical healing and learning center unlike any other. A large selection of crystals, gems, and minerals greet you as you walk in the door, but from that point onward, the journey is yours. They offer a great selection of metaphysical tools, state-of-the-art holistic healing, with classes and lectures scheduled throughout the month. Akashic Awareness is open Tuesday through Saturday, noon until 6:30, 7 on Friday and Saturday. Visit their website for a current calendar of their almost daily special events and guests at akashicawareness.com. And while you are there, be sure to join their email list to stay current. Akashic Awareness, 328 Sycamore Street, Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
G'day Scarefest fans, Glenn here from FakeShemp.net. It's great to be with you for another week. Hope you're all doing well. Last week I talked about a film called Wormwood, which was a really interesting and quite unique zombie film. And I thought to myself, why don't we make this a trilogy? So this week I'm going to talk about another one that is quite out of left field and different. And then next week I'll come back and we'll do a third one to wrap it all up. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this one. It's from 2018. This is Cargo, and it is a remarkable film. In fact, I would go so far as to declare this one of the best zombie films ever made. I know that's a big call, but damn if this is not a powerful film. It's relatively recent too. Released in 2018, the film stars British actor Martin Freeman, who all of you will know. He played Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit trilogy, he starred in films like Black Panther and Captain America, and he was the lead in the first season of Fargo and a countless string of other films and TV shows. When it comes to zombie apocalypse movies, few are as powerful or as emotionally charged as this one. And that's because of the dramatic narrative. Rather than focusing on the horror, the story focuses on the humanity by following a man stranded in the outback who has 48 hours to get his infant daughter to safety before a bite that he sustained earlier turns him into a zombie. His wife turned earlier in the film, which lays the foundation for the unfolding drama, and with some really innovative and unique new contributions to the genre, Cargo feels as fresh and as important as Night of the Living Dead did all those years ago. The desperation that Freeman's character faces is palpable, and anyone who's watching who is a parent will fully comprehend the devastating situation that this guy finds himself in, and it's this drama that makes the film all the more horrific. But that's not to say that the film shies away from the genre at all, because trust me, it doesn't. These zombies are fully fledged flesh eaters, and there's plenty of horror dished up. The jump scares are intense, the suspense is unnerving, and the gore is aplenty. But the other fundamental strength of Cargo is its deeply seated foundation in indigenous culture. Anyone who likes to delve into allegories and analogies will understand that the zombie invasion in this movie is a metaphorical comment on colonialism and Western influence on the world's oldest culture. The traditional landowners and their way of life is explored really sincerely, and careful detail has been put into depicting their traditions and cultural practices with total authenticity. But that's getting pretty deep. Look, it works on a whole lot of levels, and perhaps what you want to hear most, that this is just a kick-ass zombie flick. I've seen Cargo 3 times now, and it packs a punch every single time. It is a really remarkable film, and I'd love to know what you guys think of it, so please don't forget to let me know. You can catch me in the chat room here at ScareFest TV every single week without fail. Otherwise, find me over at FakeShemp.net. There's a Facebook page for that, and I am there. That's about it from me for another week. If you haven't listened to my podcast, now's a good time to start. Good Movie Monday. It drops every Sunday afternoon over your way. Lots of good stuff going on there. This coming episode, I wrap up an interview I had with the director of Guns Akimbo, a new kick-ass movie starring Daniel Radcliffe. Don't want to miss that one. And I'll catch you next week with another really cool zombie movie.
And we're back, everybody, with Mr. Vincent Ward. Okay, the first thing I gotta ask, do you think that your hip-hop days will serve you well doing classical ballroom dancing on Dancing with the Stars?
I have some rhythms, so I would have to say yes. If I don't know how to do anything else, I know how to bust a move.
I took ballroom dancing, and there are parts of it that will just mess you up. It is, but once you get the rhythm, and I'm a 56-year-old white guy, so that was well behind me, and but I managed, and we actually got fairly good at it.
Right. I used to love Saturday Night Fever, man. That was my movie.
That is still that is still my genre. When a disco song comes on, my wife and I have a rule: we're effing dancing. That's just all there is to it. I wanted to ask you about good and bad projects. Whenever I have a celebrity on the show, I try to go back and watch some of their stuff. First of all, Encounter, very good show, very good movie. And part of you understand. Part of it is when I'm watching these horror and thriller movies and sci-fi. It's the ones my wife can watch are the ones that kind of appeal to me because she's not covering her eyes. Very good work in that. I wanted to ask you about Lost in the Pacific. I did not watch it. And I'm going to tell you why I didn't watch it, and I can tell by your reaction, I didn't need to. I have never watched a movie trailer that turned me off of a movie any worse.
Let me tell you something. It might have been a bad movie, but we had a great time in Malaysia.
Okay.
I was there for 3 months. The first 3 weeks, they built that plane, and the seats that we were sitting in were they was big massage chairs. So the first 3 weeks, maybe the first month, we didn't even do anything because they weren't finished yet. But hey, it was a horrible movie, but it was nice pay, and we had a great time in Malaysia and Singapore. I had a great time, man.
That makes me feel much better about asking that question. I'll just put it that way, because But I was going through. Basically, what I go through IMDb and I start at the top, work my way down, look for the movies that are in what I appeal to me. First of all, I can tell you've done a bunch of freaking love story movies, and I'm not going to sit there and watch. I'm just not. I'm not going to do it. So I was looking for all your sci-fi thrillers, stuff like that.
But let me tell you this right quick. This is once again, I always got a crazy story. The way that I got connected with Lost in the Pacific, this guy, I didn't even know him, had hit me on Facebook and it's like, hey, Vince, I know we don't know each other. He said, but I bring American actors to Asia to film movies. I'm like, right, okay. I said, so when you have one, you let me know. This guy hit me back a year later and said, Vince, I got something for you. He said, but you have to leave in 3 weeks. And I was just moving out of my apartment at that time. And I was like, all right. I said, this better not be no BS. This better be for real. Because I got to put my stuff in storage. And it was legit. It was legit. Everything he said was legit. And to this very day, I see him. He's a white guy. He lives in Japan or China, one of the two. But now he's turned into a big actor. I'm like, wait a minute, how did you go from hooking people up in movies to becoming a big time actor? He speaks the language and everything now. So that's how I got in that movie.
Now this is kind of a related question, so I'll call it a follow up. You're 6'4". Hmm? Every freaking actor I've ever met is like 4'7", 5 foot. I mean, I tower over Tom Cruise. I mean, and I'm just a little short dude. How does it? Do you think that hinders you, or I mean, does it cost you some roles? I guess is one way to look at it.
It can hurt, it can help. I know for a fact it's been a few times that I got parts like for instance, what's the name of that show? Kit, the car was Kit, not Ryder. I know for a fact I got that part because at that time the guy, the star of the show, was tall.
Right.
He was, so sometimes they want it like that. Even I tell you somebody that's tall and you probably won't even realize he's that tall. The freaking governor was tall. The governor, he might been an inch taller than me. He was just real thin. So It can work for you. It can work against you. It just depends on how the character is, to be honest with you.
Well, I can say, and not like the governor, they for your character in that show, they wanted someone that was I don't even know what the word is. I want to say foreboding, and that's completely the wrong word. Intimidating. In other words, towering. And it doesn't surprise me about him.
He was bigger than me. Theo, that dude was huge.
But
Big Tiny, about 6'8", 325. So I got another story for you. So when I auditioned for The Walking Dead, my character's name was Mouse. That's the character that I read for. So once we got to the set that day, you know, all the guys, we were introducing ourselves to each other, and he said, Big Tiny was like, yeah, I'm playing the character Mouse. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm playing the character Mouse. And then before we knew it, you know, we were all confused at that time because it was all like fake names or whatnot. So by then, you know, they end up telling us our real character's name. But, you know, the thing about it is it's kind of sad that not just The Walking Dead, but other shows have to keep everything secretive because there's always somebody out there that's trying to leak stuff or open their mouth. So I'm not mad at them that they give you fake stuff if somebody's trying to ruin everything and leak stuff, which is so unfair. Because I remember, you know, after a while, people was asking me, what's happening next? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. And if I did know, I wouldn't tell you. And if I was the type of person that would tell you, you really don't want to know. Because it messes up the surprise for you. Why would you want to know something like that? So, yeah.
Let's do our next commercial break, and then I'll come back. We'll do our announcements, and I'll toss it back to Brandon, and we'll get everything back on the rails here. We'll be right back, everybody.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil, and it seems like almost everyone is using it. The research is ongoing, but the apparent health benefits are overwhelming. If you're going to use CBD products, though, what brand should you buy? First, find out where the hemp was grown. Imports are flooding the market. How potent is it? Look for a brand that plainly states its concentration on the label. And look for full spectrum CBD. This means the oil contains CBD and all the other cannabinoids, terpenes, and nutrients that are found in the entire cannabis plant. Look for Blue Leaf CBD oil. Blue Leaf Naturals is a Kentucky proud company. They use only Kentucky-grown hemp, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses. Visit their website at blueleafcbd.com now and use the code SMILE at checkout for free shipping.
With the one and only Granny Pachi Mouth at the FoodieCon 2019. Now tell me, what do you have going on? What is this? You have a recipe book, a cookbook?
I have a cookbook. It's called Granny Potty Mouth's Fast as Cookbook.
Y'all heard that? She ain't playing no games.
Well, the idea is, you know, when you get home from work or doing whatever you were doing all day long or all night long or whatever, I don't care, none of my business.
Right.
You don't have time to just look around. You need to eat. You're hungry.
Right.
So these meals are guaranteed under 20 minutes and under $20, unless I say so.
Unless you say so, under 20 minutes, under $20. So where do you get some of these ideas from, some of these recipes?
30 years of feeding kids.
Hungry Mouths made you create some things out of nothing, right?
Well, you know, I was super poor as a kid and super poor as a mother of two, and then not quite so poor as a mother of 4 with a new husband and his 2 kids.
Right.
But the whole idea was, everybody comes to the table and they want something a little bit different. And
so wait a minute. So you got 3 or 4 people. You would make 3 or 4 different dishes?
No. But I would make the main dish,
right,
and leave out the mushrooms for this one, and leave out the green beans for that one, and they could put them in themselves.
Gotcha.
So my motto is, if you like it, it goes in. If not,
oh, we're here with Granny Potty Mouth at the 2019 FoodieCon. Tell me where you can be reached at.
not my hair. Don't mess my hair. You can hug me, but don't mess my hair.
Where can you be reached?
Oh, I'm Granny Potty Mouth all over the interwebs.
Okay. All right. That's it. FoodieCon 2019. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Conventioneering. It's so
Conventioning. That's right. Thank you very much.
What is your name? I called this house. I didn't even get your name.
I'm Vincent M. Ward.
Vincent M. Ward.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Granny F. Potty Mouth.
There it is. We are out of here. Give him a peace sign. Peace.
Now. There we go. For Killer Clowns in Outer Space, we have Susan Snyder. Susan Snyder for our first celebrity announcement of the evening. Susan has been in, actually she has been in every TV show ever made. At one point, playing the bitchy girlfriend. That is, she's built an entire career playing the bitchy or batshit girlfriend, starting with Melanie and Chips back in 1983. Oh my God, I love this woman. Now, next up, Mr. Grant Kramer, also from Killer Clowns in Outer Space. And his IMDb page did not load. There it goes. Lone Survivor, November Man, End Watch, a lot of big movies, also a lot of television. But Mr. Grant Kramer, who was in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Herod Blank is up next. Herod Blank. Now, I had to dig for this one because this guy's a cinematographer. He does a lot of documentaries. But he actually apparently slapped a clown makeup on and was also in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'll have to look and see what else. Mike Tobacco, I think is what he is. Anyway, so we got Herod Blank, and then finally Mike Martinez. Now Mike Martinez. Oh, we found the kid. Mike Martinez he's a stuntman. And I'll Brandon might have a better. I could even his connection to Killer Clowns. But if you're into stuntmen, this guy has been once again in every movie ever made. But he was in The Matrix Reloaded, Transformers, Age of Extinction, Contagion, San Andreas, but also from Killer Clowns. So we've got a group of Killer Clowns from Outer Space coming, and now the one dearest to my heart, Ms. Jenna Jameson. Ms. Jenna Jameson, who I have such fond memories of, and I'm going to best part, Brandon. Best part is I got to do research for this. I have to go back and I have to watch her movies, and read
her book, Wes. We'll start there.
Yeah, that's that's what I'll do. I'll read her book. But there's our 5 celebrity announcements, everybody. So now, kick us over, Brandon. We're going back to you.
Yeah, so my daughter made it through all the outer perimeter, all the way in here with no clothes on, and so yeah, you may hear her again in the background. Now, Vincent, we were talking about something before we had to go to commercial about the Abilities Expo. And so I'd love to go back to that if you wouldn't mind.
That out of all of the expos and conventions that we covered, that was probably my favorite one, and that's the one that touched me the most, because some of the things that we take advantage of, every day, these people are having a hard time. And it's called the Abilities Con, and it's all about people with disabilities. It shows how, the showers they use, the shoes they have to put on, the toilets they have to use. They focus on a place that makes the minivans so they can drive them themselves, because they don't want anybody to feel sorry for them. They don't want to feel like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do that. I remember meeting this lady, and she was probably in her 50s, and she had just became blind. And so she was trying to show people how to get a seeing eye dog. She had her dog there. She hadn't been blind that long, maybe 3 months before we met her. And that hit me, man. Because that can be me, it can be you, it could be, one of our parents, one of our kids, anything, So that one touched me the most. Just to be able to just be thankful and grateful that, I can get up and walk and see or talk and without any problem.
The Abilities Expo, it was really interesting that you brought it up, because like I was saying before the break, I'm a social worker. My wife runs a not-for-profit, and so that's the world that we live in. We help folks with disabilities. And so the Abilities Expo, when you said that, like, I had to kind of double take for a second, was like, are we talking about the same thing? Because the Abilities Expo is something that, it's all about assistive technology for people with disabilities and all the things that, they can have to live more independently. And I'm going to make a segue on this because, go ahead, Vince. I'm sorry.
No, I just said it's huge. That place was packed with vendors and people everywhere, man. I was shocked. We was at the LA Convention Center, and that place was jam packed. And I had never heard.
They have all over the place.
Yeah, they go on tour. I think he says they have like 6 or 7 different places that they go to each year. So
yeah, now we had, and this is my segue into some of the work that I want to talk to you about that's coming out. I work with a young man who he has a disability, and he was burned as a child, and we had, and you've done some work with Kane Hodder.
Oh yeah,
and Kane's a great guy.
What happened with him? I didn't know he went through that.
Yeah, and we did the premiere of To Hell and Back here in Lexington, and the guy that I work with came down, and him and Kane like sat down and they shared, like, he told him his story and Kane talked to him, and it was one of those things where you see a horror con take on, or a convention, just kind of, it came into a thing of like support more than anything, and it was really cool. And so that just made me think about it, and I want to bring it up. But now a friend of mine, you've actually got a few credits, I think, with Kane, and you did some work with Tony Todd, and both those guys are going to be there this year. But I had a friend talk to me about 86 Zombies.
I don't know.
Can you talk to me about that?
I have no clue what's going on with that. That guy, he contacted me. It's probably been about almost 2 years now, and I haven't heard anything from him. But he has everybody on his IMDb page. It's like, brother, either we gonna do it or you take me off your IMDb.
I'd heard it for a while, and it got, like, at first it was a 2020, and then it goes 2021 release. And then I saw where it was like something was a series, and then it was a movie. Like the premise of it sounded really cool, and like everybody in it just looked like we were really.
It actually reminds me of Death House. Death House had every legendary horror icon in it that you can think of. I was asking myself, how the hell and what the hell am I doing here with all these legendary, horror actors and actresses? But
now, what you working on is that the to Death House? Isn't there a prequel to Death House coming out?
Well, what I've heard is supposed to be Death House 2, and then it's supposed to be Dawn of the Five Evils, when it's about the five evils. Yeah. And that's what I'm really waiting on. Matter of fact, they actually sent me, I'm gonna show you. They sent me this cool poster for it, but I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
Dawn of the Five Evils, and this is the first one they had sent me, the Death House one. But this is the one I'm waiting on right here. So
yeah, that looked badass, and like I've had like a bunch of people ask me about that, and like the 86 zombies and stuff, and like, so what have you got? Like, can you talk to us about stuff you've got coming out that we're still waiting on for COVID to kind of break down a little bit?
Yeah, man, I filmed a movie at the end of the year last year called Big Effing Rat. It's with my man Thomas J. Churchill. He's a director. He actually directed my movie, The Stepdaddy. And The Stepdaddy is like a remake of the old school movie, The Stepfather, when the guy kept marrying all these women and killing them and stuff. I got the Amityville something. I forgot the name of it. That I'm actually studying it right now. And that's another one of Thomas's movies. In fact, here's the script right here. It's called The Amityville Moon. So that's probably the first thing I'm going to film when this is over with. And I got a movie called Allure, another horror in Houston. I don't know what's going on with that. They contacted me on Instagram the other day, and I just became a spokesperson for this wine. It's called Belvino wine. So I'm gonna try to be like Billy D. Williams was with Colt 45, or the most interesting man. So it's delicious. I know you guys in Kentucky. You all about what, the bourbon brandy? Is it bourbon?
But now I've made a slow change over to margaritas during the lockdown. But if you're going to sponsor and promote alcohol, right now is the time to do it.
Yeah, man. What happened is me and my wife, we had went to this winery in Temecula, and we just like to get out. That's why we started calling it On the Road with the Wards. And we went to this winery, this Belvino winery, and I fell in love with the wine. I said, I damn near begged, like, please let me be the spokesperson for this wine. So we're about to kick that off, and it's delicious, man. It's delicious. It's like, you don't feel drunk and all that other stuff, but it's just real smooth. So we got that and conventioning, and like I said, Devereaux. I call Devereaux like the new age Candyman. And now, of course, Candyman is about to come out again. But
what do you think about the trailer on that?
Oh man, it's nice. Because I know Tony, and I know the young lady that's playing the mom. She was in the first one. Her name is Vanessa Williams. So I know them, and I'm just excited for them, man. But Devereaux, we actually have a comic book that's coming out for it through Scouts Comics. That should be out this year. Everything is finally finished. I have a graphic novel from the Stepdaddy. And, my thing is, I don't call myself a writer. I call myself a guy with ideals. And if I don't know someone, then I'm not afraid to ask somebody, like, hey, what do you think about this? And how can we link up and help each other? So,
well, one thing my son is going to want me to ask you, because and I didn't realize this. And that's just because I guess I've gotten, older. But
man, I got 13 grandkids.
Oh, yeah, you got
13.
I was a late bloomer. Now you were on Grand Theft Auto, weren't you?
I got another crazy story about it. So years ago, I I had booked this voiceover. I didn't even know what it was because they wouldn't tell you. And I was like, all right, so I'm in there yelling, telling people to freeze, all types of stuff. For years went past, and all of a sudden somebody brought it up just like you did. And I'm like, not that I know of. Then I went to my IMDb and I saw it on my IMDb. I never knew it was Grand Theft Auto.
Have you done any more voiceover work, just out of curiosity?
I did one. Donnie McClurkin. He's a big gospel singer. He had his own radio show, and I used to do like the voiceovers for that. It was called Gospel Gold. So, and what people don't realize, man, it's hard booking those voiceovers, man. It's hard. People think, well, you got a deep voice. Nah, it's a lot of people got deep voices. It's the women that got deep voices, so it doesn't make any difference. I just had a voiceover audition maybe like 3 days ago for a new video game. So we'll see.
Like, do you go like you just come in and record your part, or do you work with other actors and stuff like that, or?
Nah, you have to do everything yourself. Say if it's a dialogue between me and you got to skip that line and go straight to your line, which kind of throw you off a little bit, you know. He's like, what is he saying? Like, then you talk, and then you talk. So, yeah, this audition is still going on, man.
So out of all your stuff, like, you've got theater, you've got film, you've got voiceover work that you do. Like, what do you enjoy the most? Like, how do you get psyched up for that stuff?
I think right now my favorite thing is conventioning. And the reason why, because I don't have to remember lines. My mind, where do you get your mind? Okay, what is my name right now? But I think the reason why it's my favorite is because I get to show my personality. I get to make people smile, make people feel warm, make them feel welcome, make them feel like they're important. Because to me, they are. If you're taking time out to have me interview you, and I always say, I don't like, because when you use the word interview, people get a little nervous. I always say, you allow me to have a conversation with you, because I want you to feel comfortable, like we're friends, like you can talk to me without feeling like, oh, you're trying to get some secrets out of me. No.
Yeah, it feels more like jobs. Like
right.
That takes the fun out of it.
And I think I'm a mixture of like Terry Crews and Michael Strahan. Big guys with personalities that people aren't intimidated by. So
it's like Robert Bukes. The first time I met him, that dude is like 7 foot tall, like scary as hell, but like the nicest guy you ever meet. So like and you remind me of him, just like the way you come across. Like,
and the thing about it is, most big guys are the nicest guys. And if a big guy is not nice, it's just because he's a bully. So, yeah.
Well, Wes, I'll hand it back over to you, man.
Well, let's do our commercial break, then I'll come back and close up with our guest, Vincent M. We'll be right back. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Now find them monthly at the Central Kentucky Mystical Market in Lexington. Or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being.
COYOTE Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to COYOTECHRIS.com to learn more.
Hey, ScareFest fans, this is Joe Lewis welcoming you to another episode of me reviewing shit. All right, so shout out to Fuzzy's Taco Shop. This hat has seen better days, but Fuzzy's Taco Shop is one of the best tacos you can get all across the Midwest. It really exists. Google it. They're really good tacos. Anyway, today I have a review for you for a film that just is awful. It's called Slaughterhouse Rules. Have you seen it? Now, there's a reason why you probably haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure it was dumped everywhere it was at. Now, how many of you out there love, and I mean absolutely, positively love, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost? If you don't know who those two people are, well, they're the people that gave you the two friends in Shaun of the Dead. How many of you like Margot Robbie? Yeah, that's the same Margot Robbie. You know, she plays the Joker's girlfriend. What's she called? Harley Quinn. Michael Sheen. Asa Butterfield. This movie has everybody, but it's so terrible. So here's the subplot. It's called Slaughterhouse Rules. It's directed by Crispian Mills, and it is awful. Anyway, it's about It's about a British boarding school that becomes a battleground, bloody, over fracking. Now, the headmaster has sold the rights to whatever it is beneath. It's built upon these ancient caverns that have all this methane gas or some sort of gas, and they're going to frack and get the gas out of there, and they're all excited. And what they let loose are some sort of underground demon monster things that come up and eat everybody. There's a couple of cool scenes with blood and some torture. There's a scene with some fingers and make out, and that's something's mouth he's putting those fingers in, not something else. That's all I'm going to say. But that's not what makes this bad. So why I really want to see it, other than I'm a huge Michael Sheen fan, great British actor right now, Prodigal Son, check it out. He's a serial killer dad. Anyway, the reason I wanted to see it is because it's the first time that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost had been back together, except for, those three films that they did to one another. The famous, for you all being ScareFest fans, being Shaun of the Dead. It's awful. It's terrible. The director directed a movie a few years ago with Simon Pegg, and I'm assuming that's the Incredible Fear of Everything or something like that. And I'm assuming that's the reason he did it, for his old friend, but it's awful. Whatever you do, avoid this movie at all costs. At all costs, avoid this piece of crap. It is awful. However, it's got a great cast. This has been Joe Lewis with Bonehead Weekly. I know this is short, but I just can't sit here and talk about this piece of shit. It's awful. So don't check that out. Go out and see something good. You guys ever seen that Army of Darkness? You ever seen that Halloween? You ever seen John Carpenter's The Thing? Watch any of them. Anything. Stab your eyes with something sharp. Don't check out Slaughterhouse Rules, and find yourself Fuzzy's Taco.
That was the best movie review Joe Lewis has ever done. That was funny. There's no point even going on with the show at this point. He won tonight. Everybody, we're back with our guest Vincent M. I just got a couple more questions for you. First of all, this conventioning thing that I played the clip for. Is this something you're shopping? Is this something that you're just kind of doing in shorts? What is conventioning?
We're actually shopping it. We have 4 episodes that we film right now, but I can see it. I can see it on Vice, Hulu, Netflix. Hell, I can see it on AMC. They had the Comic Book Man on there. Amazon Prime. I really, besides Hulu and Amazon Prime and Netflix, I really can see it on a cable network. And there's no disrespect to any of the streaming forms, but nowadays everything is so expensive. After you pay for Netflix, people don't want to pay for anything. My cable bill is $190. After I start paying for everything else, it's like I don't know if I would want to pay another $5 or $6 for something else. So,
from your mouth to God's ear, I'm telling you. I've got Prime because Amazon, so that's a good deal. I have Netflix. I do live on Netflix. I'm on the fence. I've got Hulu, but I don't watch it much anymore. I'm not seeing. They just don't seem like they ever have anything that appeals to me. And now I did.
My wife, she watches all that stuff, especially horror. Anything horror or anything with little people. She watches all. She's watching it right now. Any of these little people shows, she watches it. I swear. Hold on. Let me walk back here. I bet you. I bet my wife. I'm walking back here right now.
That's pretty good.
I bet. Oh, it's not on.
Yeah, now, Brandon, you're on camera. You can jump in if you need to.
My wife is probably watching The Handmaid's Tale right now as we speak.
No,
no, sorry.
It was 3 Wives, 1 Husband was what I just binged.
There's our siren. We've been waiting all night for the siren to go by.
I quarantined myself to the couch because of Grey's Anatomy, so I mean, it just comes with the territory.
I tell you a show that I did binge watch, and that was Breaking Bad, Ozark, and Saul. Better Call Saul. I love those shows.
Yeah, we just got back from Albuquerque. We were actually speaking at a disabilities expo.
Really?
Yeah, and we got to take a tour in the RV and everything. And they at the end of the tour, man, they have a candy store there where you can buy rock candy that is broken up in like blue meth, little bags. And like you could actually take them back on the airplane. And she bought like, what was it, honey? I think you bought like.
I bought like 20 bags, but then
small bags of crystal meth.
When you buy the big bag, it comes with all these little tiny plastic empty bags, so you can deal out your own rock candy.
Oh my! I know they had to be blue though, right?
Yeah, so she's called the Bad Candy Lady, and she made all the meth for the TV show. And this tiny little, it was filmed in Albuquerque. You get on this remake RV, and you ride around like this all over town, and you see all the different filming locations. And then at the end, you get to buy some of the real, true blue meth.
That's probably like the thing that they have in Atlanta, Georgia, the Atlanta tours. The Atlanta tours take you to all these different places of The Walking Dead or other shows, other locations. That's cool.
I'm gonna slate you off a bag of blue meth right now.
Yeah, man.
At ScareFest, you let me know if you have any problems getting back into LAX.
I'm gonna give it to my wife for our anniversary that's coming up soon. Second.
Well, everybody, I'd say that's a good note to end the show on. The only thing I'm going to say in closing, Vincent,
okay,
I wasn't sure you would be a good guest. Your emails are so incredibly short, I get longer text messages. It's like, do you want to do the show? Yes. It's at 9 o'clock. Okay. And then you come on here and you're one of the best guests we've ever had.
Yes, come on.
You might have called me when I was class or something.
But it's been great talking to you. I'm really excited to meet you this October. Everybody, don't forget he is coming to ScareFest 2020, October 23rd through 25th, Lexington Convention Center. And the way they're sound, there's no one interfering with the construction. Who knows? We might even have like rooms and crap. So we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, man, they are ahead of schedule.
There it is.
The only problem is that the president of the company might be out with his hat in his hand because he was really counting on renting Rupp Arena before then, I believe. Everybody, this has been ScareFest Television. We will see you next week.
Hey.